My name is Taylor. I'm 23 now. I was only 11 when a simple karate injury thrust me into this medical mess. It took me almost 4 years to get diagnosed, and sadly I know that I'm not the only one in this room that it took so long. My book, Nerves on Fire, was just recently finished, and I'm more than happy to be here today to share a few words from the book and hopefully help the RSD community understand it better. So if I take a moment, close my eyes, I can be back there in a world where there was no pain, only a near-perfect childhood and a free-spirited little girl. You'd call me a tomboy, always ditching that itchy dress for a shorts and shirt, something that drove my mom crazy. My dad was my best friend, a big burly guy who everyone knew wanted a boy, but ended up happy with his girl, who just would do anything just to be with him. The critical years before a diagnosis, my childhood was gone. Pain affected all aspects of my life. People doubted the pain was even real. Doctors, friends, family. I'd gone from hobbling with a soft cast, crutching with a hard cast, to then sitting in a wheelchair at 14 like a cripple, not being able to walk on my own. Becoming my own advocate started then. We as a family realized that the doctors didn't know everything, and sure as hell didn't have the answers. I needed to fight the pain now more than ever. When I looked down at the legs, I could see they were both struggling. My right foot had curled in, losing muscle. I could no longer even move my toes. The monster was taking control of my emotions, and we didn't even know its name. I took out all my frustration on the ones closest to me, which most of the time was my mom. We'd always yell some hurtful words at each other. She'd yell some back, and we'd go to our separate areas of the house, apologizing sooner than later. A night I couldn't sleep, which, come on now, we all know it's almost every night for us. I was searching the web for any and all information I could find. I knew that I was going to chase the RSD monster, and I was going to win. After treatment in Boston, remission seemed possible. It seemed near. I was home a week, walking on cloud 9, walking unassisted. My family and I were able to do things we'd never done together in years. I even believed I'd be able to ride my quad in the desert again. I was working out every morning. Life seemed pretty perfect. An important lesson I learned during that time was never take a good RSD day for granted, because you never know when they'll be back. I learned that the hard way. After a few months, After a few months, I was back to square one, slipping. Legs were becoming in more pain. I was losing muscle and scared out of my mind that what if the monster was back and the pain was back to stay. The burning moved up my back and was creeping up my shoulder blades. As I always did, I kept the spreading anguish to myself for as long as I could. My sister, who's here somewhere, was always the first one I would turn to when the monster started to raise its ugly flames again. When I told her, she hugged me carefully, understanding that now even my back was painful to the touch. Once she got over that, we together broke the news to my parents. We agreed we couldn't give up, and I wouldn't let this demon win the race. We knew we never would. I was behind, but I could get out in front if we could find the right answers. I didn't know then. There wasn't one answer. There wasn't a cure or a magic wand, and there still isn't. I learned it's a war. If you feel the monster's taking territory, you must take control and share with the ones you love. I still wonder at times how I made it this far after 12 years. It's almost like my why. Why do I get up every day? Why do I continue to fight the hardest I can? I look around this room and I see all my family and friends and fellow fighters. That's my why. I can't lie, there have been and will be more moments every day, or even days, when I find myself immersed in a small pity party of my own. Why me? I've ranted to my mom over the years. One of my mom's favorite answers has always been, God made you strong enough to handle it. The truth is, the road is rocky, and I'm still unsure. My dad always says, if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. But at least we now have a direction. Meanwhile, I'm going to live my life to the very best I can. I'm a chef now, so there's new recipes to test, holidays to celebrate, friends to laugh with, and Disney to visit, and even someone to care for. Am I in pain? That's not a question, it just is. My question is, how are you?
You guys have a question for Taylor? don't know.
I don't know if this is like the kind of question I can ask or not. I'm just curious what treatment you had in, was it Boston?
Yeah, I went to the Pediatric Pain Rehabilitation Center when it first opened from Boston Children's Hospital. So it's an intensive physical therapy program. I was there for 3 months.
And let me just say that it was inspiring for me because I lived near Taylor when I met her. I said, what would you like to do? And she said, I just want to tell my story. I said, have you written? And she went upstairs and found a journal that she had started when she was 12 years old. I said, then we'll finish the book and we'll get it done, no matter what. And she did. And so I think that we should give her a wonderful...
And if I can just thank Alice, too, it wouldn't have been possible without her and all her hard work.
Without Alice.
Yeah, thank you for the dedication, Alice.
Thank you.
Alice, questions?
2 months.
Whoa. We have 2 questions.
Oh, sorry. When somebody finds out from the doctor that they have been diagnosed or a possible diagnosis is complex regional pain syndrome, it's one of the worst days of their life.
Yeah.
What advice do you have to people who that's their day? What do you say to them?
That, just thinking about that, it's hard. It brings me back to that day. Research, advocate for yourself, be with your close family and friends. You're going to learn who your real family and friends are. And like I've said in the book, it's definitely quality over quantity. You know, I have friends that I can count on my 2 fingers, and they're both here today, and they would never miss anything for me. So that would be my advice, is just to advocate and be with the ones that you love and that love you back.
I wanted to ask about your schooling. When you were 11, how did this affect you in going to school? And did the kids at school accept it? And
No, I was made fun of a lot, especially since without a diagnosis. You know, what does she have? Why can't she do this? Why is she worse when when it rains? You know, stuff like that. No, I had a horrible DC experience in 8th grade I had to be sent home from because they just couldn't deal with the disability. I was homeschooled half a freshman year, homeschooled half a sophomore, and then graduated early homeschooling, so I finished my junior year.
I have a question. Taylor, it took Taylor 4 years to finally get the diagnosis, Brian, that you mentioned. Is there anything you would say to people about the length of time in getting diagnosed?
I mean, I think that everyone knows here that it's so important to get diagnosed early, and you just have to keep fighting for that answer. And I'm sure everyone in here today has fought and fought and fought for answers or treatments or tests or whatever you have. We're all fighters. That's why you're here today, to learn more and meet other fighters.
Okay. Oh, I see one. Okay.
Sit. Good girl. Down.
Sorry, I'm not moving.
Down.
Hi, Taylor. This is more of a statement rather than a question. And I was just going to say, as bad as CRPS can be, I think one of the most difficult parts for me was not just not getting a diagnosis, but being told over and over and over, it's just in your head. Why don't you want to work anymore? What's wrong with you? Why are you lazy? And not having a name for the diagnosis either. And it was just, to have to deal with that was just horrific for me.
Yeah, it beats you down. I mean, who would want to pretend like they're sick and lay in bed all day? I mean, you can only watch so many shows over and over.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.